Hello, welcome back to Nations and Nobles. And as you can see, I have actually been working a little bit topside. I know it's been a little while since that has happened. First thing off is that, I actually managed to torch up the place. I'm going to be trying to get actual lights around at some point, but I just wanted to get the Enderman out of here. Now, obviously, they're going to walk over here, teleport over here, but at least it won't be quite as annoying because I do tend to look at them every now and again. While I was at it, I also decided to add these wheat fields just to add a little bit of visual variety to the place, because you had these giant flat areas of endstone that I wasn't really planning on doing anything with in terms of builds or whatever. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just give it some variation in that yellow and just kind of go for a somewhat naturalist sort of look to the place that I'm hoping to do in the future. And I tried to start planning a a custom tree. To not much success. Maybe I'll get to this later. I am not usually a huge fan of doing custom trees, but we'll see if I get to it. But the final thing I've been doing, and I actually managed to do quite a bit of this, is basically the Shulker Factory Part 2. This is the ladder that leads down to it, and, I kind of wanted to have some sort of shop or something to, have a centralized shop for shulker boxes. I know I have a shop over by the Hole in the Void, but I just figured having a more specialized shop would be fun. And as you can see, I have a bit of a split level design. I haven't figured out what I want to do with the inside yet. Yeah, that's a change of pace. Me planning the outside before planning the inside, that's a rarity. But I have mostly just been trying to figure out what basic shape I want. Actually kind of similar to when I planned... Whoa, okay, hold on, what the heck? Alright. Anyways, that's not the only thing I've been working on. In fact, there's a final touch that I want to add to something. So if we go to the bottom of this ladder over here, you can see that we have a little bit more redstone. This is mostly just me connecting the vault doors. You can see that mess back there. It's not that complicated. It's just a bunch of redstone wires. But in order to make the doors actually function as doors, I actually need to get up and out of here. Oh, and I forgot, I ended up completing this little hallway that connects the factory to the vault. It was a lot of work to get all of these. Not only the netherite I got myself, but also the diamonds I had to get to pay Pop for it. Although, all things considered, I think it is a pretty good deal. But yeah, everything is secured. Now that that's taken care of, I'm gonna see if I can keep trying to work at the factory a bit. So I decided to just take out the purper. There's been multiple times now where I've tried to fit purper into something, and it just doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. I'll keep trying, but I don't think it's going to work for this project. But in any case, as you can see, I am trying a little bit of a gradient where you can kind of see the wear and tear towards the bottom of the building. What you'd kind of expect off of your typical factory. And I'm going to be playing around with that to hopefully make these boxes a little less plain looking. Also, I have a little bit of a walkway going from this side of the building to this side of the building. And I think to kind of vary up the amount of copper I'm using here, and also to make it a little bit cheaper, the plan here is basically I'll have a stair block right there, and you can kind of just seamlessly go back and forth. Maybe it's a little precarious, but I mean, hey, it's a factory. Nobody cares about work safety. I'm just realizing this might interrupt the walkway a little bit. Um, does that at least look pretty? um, Not really. Okay, I'm gonna have to rethink that a little bit. I have worked on the texturing quite a bit. I got a bit carried away. This is probably the most fun I've had while texturing. In the midst of it, I actually kind of looked up why buildings tend to discolor at the bottom, and apparently it's like water and air and algae and whatnot brushing up against it. I think for the water, at least, it's called like efflorescence or something like that. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know, having the birch go into the jungle was, I don't know, it was just very satisfying, and having the highlights using the end bricks. I thought of trying to find a brighter block, but endstone is what I happen to have a lot of, and the only thing I could think of at the time was maybe like quartz, but that seemed a little extreme for me. I don't know, but maybe I'll think of something later. I add some water here. I don't know. It just gives it kind of a mill type of look. I don't know why I wanted to add that, but it did look cool. So, as you can see, no progress on the inside yet. This is pretty opposite to what I normally do. I hope I figure something out in here. And that figuring out is taking place. Don't mind the early customers. That they're not supposed to be here, but whatever. As you can see, I have been trying to get in a bunch of spruce in here. I figure it'd be a nice, easy, neutral color that would help darken it up a little bit, because we had a lot of bright colors. And we also kind of figured out what the second floor was going to look like. Up here is kind of where the workshop is. This is where you're kind of chopping up copper, cutting it up. Kind of a similar aesthetic to the workshop down below, and I've kind of ultimately figured that this is not going to be a shulker shop. This is going to be a copper shop, because I feel like there's a bit more of a need for that at the minute. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And also aesthetically, it just makes more sense. There's a lot more copper in this build than anything shulker related. I ended up putting a lot of the trapdoors around more of the base. I still need to do this little bit right here, and I've started putting down little notes trying to figure out what I want to do with some of the outdoor areas, because I'm a little lost on some of the details. I'm quite disappointed with myself. Not with this building, but more of my storage situation. As I've been building more and more projects, this has been kind of stocking up. I don't even remember what this shulker is, a special something. That's why I dyed it purple, but I don't even remember what it was supposed to be anymore, because it's such a wreck. And you know, I mean, at least these are organized. This is like dyes and whatnot. This is glass. This is redstone. But like this pile over here, you know, these are supposed to be temporary chests that I'm supposed to like eventually sort into these. At least these are, you know, still organized. But I'm gonna have to. And there's shulker boxes in here too, so it's even worse than it looks. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sort through this before too long. Probably after this build, but I really don't want to. But besides that. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do on the interior here, and also a little bit of the exterior. And the biggest problem I'm running into right now is, how do I want to show off the stock of copper? Because I kind of want to have a couple of shulker boxes in here where you could just easily take stuff out and, you know, either put diamonds in, or, you know, put your stock in, or if you have like something that doesn't sell for a whole lot, you could just put it in here, do like a bulk sell or something like that. But I don't know. I want to do something that actually fills the space, but not something that's too inconvenient to use. So I have some building materials in here. I have some barrels. I'm mostly going to be using spruce planks in place of barrels, just so I'm not putting in a bunch of materials into something that might not even work. But I'm just kind of thinking of doing like a pile or something like that. Like something like this. Maybe we could put a shulker box here, like maybe the lightning rods, because I mean, who's going to be buying lightning rods? We could probably put that off to the side and people won't really be that bothered about it. Will dark oak work? And then put like a shulker box on top. Yeah, it kind of works. Kind of works like a little shadow. I don't like these two being on the same level as each other. I kind of want to have that variation. Maybe if I put this like here. That doesn't look right. This is basically what building is at the end of the day. A bunch of trial and error and hope that it works out eventually. Now I'm having a lot of the same tone of brown right here with the barrels and the spruce planks. I do have, you know, these and the dark oak planks to help spruce it up, or ironically. But I want to see if I can get like another kind of brown in there. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It works. Surprise, surprise. The problem's even worse than I thought. Yeah, I still have a bunch of stuff in here from when I was building. I ended up using these shulkers as part of the decoration, but I completely forgot there's still stuff in here. I just need to spend an entire day just dedicated to just watching YouTube videos and organizing all of this. It's an entire cache of sand. Okay, I think we got something that I am happy with. Now, the shulkers still stand out, so you should naturally gravitate towards these when looking for stock. Hopefully, maybe. But yeah, this is going to be the lightning rods, this is going to be the trapdoors, full copper blocks, and also the doors. Those are the 4 things that you have to oxidize separately. So those are the 4 things that I'm gonna have to stock. I gotta work on a couple of other things as well, including the outside. There's a couple of areas that kind of look barren. This was one of them. I wanted to have a bit of a working type area. I tried to represent that as best as I could. I kind of had like a little admin area with like a little dark backdrop where you would hang up some tools or maybe some electrical wiring or something like that, like a little panel. I tried my best. Wasn't entirely sure on how to do that. You have a little awning. Is that what this is called? Just to fill in the space and to protect the person coming out. Kind of also helps transition to and into the door. We have another lightning rod right here just to add some visual interest. And obviously the ladder to get up top here, because that's honestly the only way to really get up here. And here's the little contraption setting off the piston. Now that's all fine and dandy, but I still have 2 areas I would like to mess around with before saying that this place actually feels lived in. This is one of those areas, because I mean, yeah, I could theoretically just leave these blank and it would probably be fine, but I want these areas to feel at least somewhat lived in, although this does feel a bit crowded, doesn't it? So I decided to repurpose that shelf over there to a shoe cubby over here. Like say you're done with work or whatever and you decide to put your boots here before you leave. So, meanwhile, on this side, I decided to personify my usual storage habits. You know, playful, very free, but also a complete mess and very dysfunctional. And it honestly kind of makes the walkway a little bit of a nightmare to navigate. But you know what? I think it adds a lot of personality. I kind of envisioned some worker kind of coming out here trying to get some fresh air while working, trying to cut up and either oxidize or deoxidize around here, and they just decided to leave everything here. Yeah, interesting building choice, I know, but I think all there is left to do, I don't think I'm gonna really do anything up top, like on the roof. But the ceiling here, compared to everything else, looks very, very plain. And I gotta solve that, because from down here it's very obvious. Like the first thing I know I want to do is add some bricks up here. Have you ever been in that point in building where you're just staring at a specific spot while sitting in a specific spot? Sometimes just kind of banging your head into the wall metaphorically, trying to figure out what the heck you're doing. Yeah. And on top of that, you just start doing other random stuff because your mind just starts losing track. Yeah, I decided to put this little shelf here. I thought it would be kind of neat to do like a little lever underneath the trap door. I don't know why I did that. I also added a little minecart track because I thought it would be kind of cool looking. But like me trying to fill up this ceiling, I don't know what I'm doing. Nope, don't like that either. My eyes start making the connection between this platform and the lights with the oak trap doors, and I don't think I like that either. Okay, maybe mess with the position on that one. Maybe experiment with some mangrove. So I kind of want to see if I could make a birch pipe looking thing. Doesn't look like a pipe, but it kind of works. Hold on, do I have like more birch on me? Where's the crafting table? And finally, at last, I look at this view, satisfied. Yeah, it's actually a little bit scuffed because of that glass pane, which I tried to mitigate with that trapdoor over there, and I tried to make this side match up with that. It's not perfect, but oh well. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I said that the ceiling was the last thing, I lied a little bit. Firstly, you probably noticed that throughout the build, I had a ladder going into the shulker shop, or not the shulker workshop, right here, and it's still there. But I have a little setup. Yeah, you could hear the skulk sensor, and yeah, you can just enter in right through here. It's a little secret entrance, and you could do the same thing this way. Now, if there's a place I can maybe dig in, I think? Yeah, I remember using this specific place a lot. So I have, if I can like dig around, I have a signal of 5 going into this comparator, which apparently you can put an input into a skulk sensor, or a calibrated skulk sensor to be precise, through a full block, but you can't take out from a full block, interestingly enough. That's why I have this little bit here where I have the repeater, but it goes into a block, and then the redstone dust above it takes care of that. So that's how I got that completely covered. However, this bit right here, that is actually open, so that ladder can still detect it through there. And I have it go through 2 extenders just to make sure I know I can get through there fairly easily, and then just the piston door right there. Fairly simple. And I actually blocked off the ladder that was right over there, so this is the only way in, and nobody should really bother us at all, so that's all fine and dandy. And also, back here, I decided I wanted to fill in this wall a little bit because it did look a little plain, even with the gradient. And from back here, you can kind of see that they're little copper piles. And I'll admit some of it is not honeycombed yet. That's kind of on purpose, though. I do kind of want to let some of them oxidize, and then maybe I can start, blending it together. It's actually kind of naturally blending on its own. It's kind of happening to go right next to some of the oxidized blocks, but I'll let that do its thing, and then I'll deoxidize it and then honeycomb it myself. But as you can see, I wrote down a little note here. Copper piles, which, as you can see, I fulfilled here. Minecart track through building. Now, that's actually a project that I will show off at another time. It's kind of the start of a completely different project. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. But besides that, thank you all for watching and have a good one. Where's that dang scientist when you need him?